I don't have to worry about those things. I can just relax and wake up the next day and know what I've got to do. One of the best parts as well is just the relationships that you're able to make. You know, these guys they're amazing people. You meet just a wide variety of people and everything every week that we go, European tour here and everything else. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the relationships that I've been able to make, you know, with the fellow caddies and also the players. You know, I think one or two of the things that people don't realize sometimes with caddying is you're away from the family a lot, which at first was fine, but the more and more you do it, you really miss. I got my beautiful bride sitting in the front row here, and it's hard on her. It's, you know, it can be hard on my daughter as well, and a little bit me too. I think the older I'm getting, it's been a little bit tougher, but one of the greatest things I've learned now is that probably my biggest trial was keeping my Christianity strong, keeping my relationship with Christ strong. You know, you want to be one of the guys, you want to hang out with everybody, you want to kind of take part in what everybody else is taking part in, whether it might be going out for beers or if it might be just the language barrier that you have, just trying not to curse and say things that you don't believe in. And as I've grown, that's gotten much easier now to where I won't deviate from that. I'm going to stay to my morals that I know that I need to be on a daily basis. So at first was one of my biggest challenges, has now turned into, you know, one of the easiest things to deal with.
I've had the opportunity, Paul, obviously, to know he and Michelle for some time, and to see God do a lot of things in your life, and it's been cool to see that. And I know that the relationship you have with Webb Simpson is very, very, very special in that he's a brother in Christ as well. And I think it would be good just for you to share with us a little bit about some of the highs and the lows of your life, spiritually and professionally, and how that's impacted who you are today.
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to make him happy here. I think God definitely knows I'm a slow learner. I've had to learn very, very slowly. I've made a lot of mistakes, so a lot more lows, I think, than highs. But he'll say that's because I'm a Florida grad. I don't believe it. But we'll let that slide for now. But, you know, basically, I'll give you a little bit of background. I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida, born and raised. Great mom and dad, very loving Christian family. Grew up in the church, every Sunday going to church, you know, praying, everything else. I think like a lot of us, when I went to college, that didn't quite agree with the things that I then wanted to do. I wanted to play golf, I wanted to meet girls, wanted to drink, kind of do all those other things. So what I had learned growing up in a life living with Christ, it didn't really fit into my new mold. And since I thought I knew better than he did, I just kind of did my own thing. And at the time, I was very, very fortunate in many ways. I didn't really have any struggles. Golf was always there. I was, all the way through college, I was a 3-time All-American. Everything just kind of came very easy to me. I didn't really have any trials to push my faith, to really make me look at what I needed to do. In 1997, got through qualifying school, my first try. Here I am, 24 years old, PGA Tour player, and man, did I think I had it made. I think I was walking around with my chest out a little too high and feeling very good about myself at the time. Man, the Lord knows ways to kind of knock that down in a hurry. 1997, missed my first 9 cuts in a row, tore my rotator cuff. Had to have surgery, off the tour now for the next year, and here I am the same year, 1997. I'm living with mom and dad, broke, jobless, and pretty much gameless also at the time. Let's throw that in. So 1997 were things, the first time kind of where I hit rock bottom. I remember in my room one day feeling very, very depressed inside, crying, really didn't even know what I was going to do with my life or where I was going. And I was flipping through the channels as fast as I could and kind of ran through the 700 Club. And for those of you that don't know what the 700 Club is, I'm not going to give you a great, I guess, rendition or definition of what it is, but it's a Christian channel that's on TV. And I was running through it, and I didn't stop for the 700 Club. I stopped because I saw John Smoltz. And Smoltz is an Atlanta Braves pitcher, a Hall of Fame pitcher, and somebody I looked up to very much. And I stopped and I went back, and the first thing I heard John say was that he pitched for God, and he believed that Christ gave him the strength to pitch. I remember thinking to myself, I tilted my head being like, do you really think that, God cares about how you pitch? And the guy that was interviewing him said, John, there's a lot of people watching right now that's thinking, wow, do you really think that God cares how you pitch? Wow, that's pretty good. And Smoltz did not miss a beat. He immediately came forth and just said, of course he does. He goes, this talent that I have, the ability I have, my arm, my mind, everything that it has, it's because of him. It's not because of me. He gave me these resources. He gave me these talents so I could use it to reach other people. I can use it to tell people about the great news of Jesus and the great news of Christ. And right then I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is it. This is what I've been missing. I've been doing everything for myself, for Paul Tesori, the entire time. And obviously, look where I am, 25 years old, single, living in mom and dad's house, crying on the floor. So I think that we're going to try Smolty's way for a little while. So immediately I just turned my life back to Christ, started praying again, started going to church again. Got married in 1998. I'm going to fast forward a little bit to 2000. I was teaching at the time at a golf course up in Ely, Florida. Very happy with not making a whole lot of money, making about $18,000 a year, but very happy playing a lot of golf, teaching, and that's what I love to do. And for the first time ever, I got down on my hands and knees on my bed and just prayed and just said, Lord, I just want you to show me the way. I'm very happy and content right now. And that almost was scaring me a little bit because I was happy and content before when things were struggling. And again, I think because I'm a little bit slow, don't say anything. The next day, phone rings, it's BJ Singh. And me and BJ were friends. We used to practice back there all the time together. And he called and asked me if I wanted to come out for 1 week to Caddie. Obviously, a great opportunity for me, and so I said yes. And that was 2000, late in 2000, and I was hired at the end of the week, basically going from 18,000 a year to 18,000 a week, kind of in a hurry. So a little bit of a change of circumstances. I'm going to fast forward a little bit more to 2005. I'd fallen into a lot of bad habits again. When I did work for VJ, one of the negatives were that I think everybody knows how hard the man works. I was only averaging about 20 days off a year, and that wasn't working out very well for the family life or my relationship with my wife at the time. And you know, it was my spiritual life had gone, no time for church. That was work days, and so again, I had fallen into a lot of those old bad habits again. Here I was. Earthly, I had about everything I could ever have wanted. I was married, I had a beautiful home, I made a lot of money, I did something that I actually love to do for a living, nice car, all those other kind of stuff, but I always felt like there was a hole inside, like just not everything was matching up inside, and I didn't know what it was. We went to countless counseling sessions, I read tons of books, and I just couldn't figure out why I wasn't happy, and yet I knew I had everything that I could ever want. 2005, my wife, and who could blame her at the time, left me. And I blamed her for everything that was wrong. So it can't be my fault. It's got to be her. 2006, I quit working for VJ. 6 years into it again, blamed it all on VJ. Couldn't be his fault. I mean, it can't be my fault. It's got to be his fault. And I started working for Sean O'Hare in 2007. Again, now at this time, I'm now single. Job is very, very important. All of my feelings inside are all based on my job. All my happiness, all my sadness. We won this week, I feel great. We miss a cut, I feel bad. I'm going to pop it back up now to 2009, and two people are here today that have led me to the life I've got right now, and that's Pastor Jack and my bride, Michelle. I fell in love with Michelle very, very quickly, and everything was great. And very soon, 6 months into it, I found out that something again was missing because we were struggling in a relationship that I didn't think could ever struggle. And we went to his church in 2000, actually it was 2008. We walked in and just said, we need help. We're in love with each other. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're driving each other absolutely crazy. So Pastor Jack sat us down and talked to us, and we started on just a different upward climb, and we were both baptized together in 2009. And immediately things started changing for me inside instead of outside. Me and Sean at the time had gone from 100th in the world to a top 10 player. Everything was going good with the job, but I wasn't really associating any of my successes now with the job. So 2009, so 2010 now comes up, and again, I'm starting to feel like the job is pulling me away from Christ. Again, I just want to be one of the guys too often. I wanted to hang out with the boys and still have those drinks, still sometimes not watch my language, and I said, I have to change this situation. Well, the Lord changed it for me. For the first time in my life, I was fired October 2010. I didn't really want that one either. I don't know why he always does these things to pull us back, but I think as parents now we understand we have to scold our kids every now and then if we want them to grow up right, and I think that's what he does with us all the time. I'm very careful what I ask for now when it comes to that. So 2010 I was fired, and it came at a bad time. I was going through a really bad lawsuit at the time, which I was going to lose in a couple months. Both houses were underwater. Now I'm jobless, and pretty soon at the time, and I wasn't married yet. Me and her, obviously, I was taking some of my frustrations out on her, just not being a great husband. And December 2010 came, and it was the greatest experience I'd ever had on this earth. Again, broke, jobless, basically homeless. Both houses were going to be gone very shortly, and Webb Simpson had called, and I had another very, very big job offer at the time. The guy that offered me the job was one of the top 10 players in the world. I knew if I accepted the job, it would be a $500,000 a year job. It would be one that I know I could make money at, and I just didn't feel like the relationship was going to be right. And every decision I made my entire life was based on money or career or prestige or anything else that I was trying to do. And my heart was pulling me towards Webb, but poor Webb at the time, he was ranked over 200th in the world, and he just had kept his card the year before. So you get to a point where you're like, okay, what am I doing? But the Lord really filled my heart. Just, this is the right decision. Trust me for a change. And I remember the first time I saw Webb swing a club, I was like, oh, what have I done? but God's power is a lot better than our power. Hopefully there's no tape recorders. I might be looking for another job. But anyhow, long story short, I think you guys know last year was an amazing year for Webb. He just had a year that can only come from God, can only come from the Lord. He is an amazing human being. He's helped me learn how to walk in the walk of Christ every day. He lives in this surroundings. This is not who he is. It's just what he does. He uses it to reach people. One of the biggest differences I saw with Webb is when I first started working for him, he would talk to his wife and be like, "Oh, baby, I love you. I miss you." I roll my eyes like, really? I'm going to have to listen to this for the next few years. And but more and more I learned, the Bible's very clear about what our jobs are as dads and also as husbands. We're called to protect, provide, and lead. And I think a lot of us as men, we know how to protect, we know how to provide, but leading is so hard for us. And the thing I learned from Webb is how to lead spiritually in the family. And it's been the biggest difference. I now have an amazing marriage to an amazing woman. My life, no matter what's happening outside, inside is good. This week missing the cut here wasn't a whole lot of fun. Had a little 12-hour struggle there with that one. I don't like that 17th hole anymore. That's outside my list. But it was just amazing. Again, the Lord continues to just provide inwardly that peace that we're all looking after. And just to kind of finish this up real quick, I really want to get through to everybody that it's not Christianity, being a follower of Christ. It's not a moral code. It's not what we do. It's what he did for us. And I think it's so important for everybody to hear that, because I had all these outside circumstances. I was still doing the things that technically were right, but I didn't have a relationship with Christ. And once I did, the changes that happened inside of me they were noticeable and amazing. I just want Isaiah 26:3-4. I remind myself of all the time. And the Paul Tesori version, PTV, you won't be able to find that in your Bible anywhere. But, here it comes. It's he who keeps his mind focused on the Lord stays in perfect peace. And perfect peace is what we're all, I think, after inside. And the great thing about Isaiah 26:3 is it follows it whether we stay in perfect peace. Why? Because he, meaning God, is an everlasting rock. And he is our rock. And if we're going to try to stay in perfect peace, try to be great fathers, try to be great husbands, try to be great at our careers, I think we all have to remember that.
I hope he doesn't get fired soon. I think he can take my job. He did a great job. Hey, we are really blessed today. We're going to have a special song to come and sing, guys.